everyone, welcome back to my channel and happy Pride Month. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing some of my Pride-worthy recommendations. They're falling down. But yeah, these are the manga that I would recommend to read during Pride Month or any time of the year. Honestly, they're really great picks. I have 5 series right here, so let's get started with probably my favorite one of the bunch. It is a BL. I've spoken about this so much on my TikTok, but I need more people to read it, because if you like romance manga, this is probably one of the sweetest relationships portrayed in manga. This is Our Dining Table, which is just, it's so damn beautiful. It is a one-shot, so I mean, you can read through this. There's no other volumes after this, which is a shame because I would love to read more about her couple. But this is a story, a very heartfelt and wholesome story about an office worker who meets a college student, and the way they meet is very unconventional. He just happens to be eating lunch when his little brother starts butting in and wants one of the rice balls that he's eating, and from there they just kind of form this unexpected friendship. I should probably start with the names. So you have Yukata right here, and then Minoru, who is this guy, the college student. So Minoru invites Yukata to his house to have dinner, and like I said previously, he has a very negative experience with eating with people. He was adopted as a child, and his adopted family, especially his siblings, were not very accepting towards him. His adopted siblings would always exclude him, always belittle him, so he found himself eating alone most of the time, even as a child. So yeah, he grew up with this very negative experience of eating and conversing with people, and yeah. So even as an adult, he carries that I wouldn't say guilt, but he carries that very uncomfortable experience. He doesn't go out with his coworkers. He thinks of himself as a burden. So as he befriends Minoru and the brother, he starts warming up to the idea of dining with someone and conversing with them and just spending that quality time eating, and yeah, you know, stuff that I think most of us take for granted, but he just never had that experience. So it's such a sweet story. The pacing for the romance is very natural. It doesn't seem forced. Little by little, they start to get to know one another a little bit better. Yeah, the pacing it's slow but natural. It is a one shot, so I mean, you do get the progression from them meeting to them, you know, getting into a relationship, but it flows really well. And both of them have their own insecurities that they're tackling. Both Minoru and his brother lost their mother, so there is a lot of sad moments in this manga. You might cry. I certainly did, because you guys know, if you follow me on TikTok, I'm a sappy person. Like, I cry so easily. But it's a beautiful story. I highly recommend it. It is very wholesome. Like I said, there's really no spice. Not everything needs to have spice. I feel like most of the time people just assume I recommend spice, and I don't, okay? I like my wholesome romance as well, and this is just so damn sweet. I will not stop talking about this. So if you have not read Our Dining Table, do yourself a favor, check it out. It is beautiful. I haven't spoken about this in a while just because we're still waiting on volume 3, but My Androgynous Boyfriend. Love this so much. This is one of the sweetest manga series around. I know in the series they don't really specify like openly that Meguru might be non-binary or use they them pronouns, but it's very obvious that it's a very unconventional gender role that is portrayed within the series. So you have Meguru right here, who is a boy who likes everything feminine. He likes bows and ribbons and pink and doing their nails, and yeah, it's just a very unconventional gender role type of situation in this manga series. They also take care of the household, they clean, they cook. They also take care of the girlfriend, who is absolutely precious and adorable. Her name is Wako. This series portrays a very lovely couple that is completely supportive of each other's endeavors and their interests and everything. So you have Wako, who absolutely adores her androgynous boyfriend. She loves that he wants to aspire to be a model. She's always pushing they to become more successful. It's like, hey, yeah, go get your nails done, go get yourself cute. Like, it's absolutely precious. And Meguro also supports Wako a ton. She is a very huge fangirl for this one specific band. One of the reasons why I really enjoyed this series is because of my upbringing. I'm Mexican, so the machismo culture is very prevalent in our culture, and it's just nice seeing, you know, someone, obviously the boyfriend in this series, portray himself in a very feminine way. They're also very strong, they're very supportive, they're very loving, and Wako, who is the girlfriend, never looks down on they for being more feminine. So I absolutely adore it. It's a very sweet story. There's no drama, there's no, you know, nothing unnecessary. It's just very sweet, very fun, and the artwork is beautiful in this as well. So volume 3 will be coming out in the near future, I believe in September, somewhere around there, so I'm very much looking forward to that. But if you haven't picked up my Androgynous Boyfriend, you're looking for something that is just very sweet and fun, it has absolutely no drama, this is a great read. The next manga series I want to talk about is this guy that I've mentioned so many times. This is Donuts Under a Crescent Moon. So this is a GL, a girl's love, or a Yuri title. It follows Hinako, which is this girl right here, and Asahi, which is this girl. Both of them work in the same office, or actually in the same team. But before, or when this manga begins, they really don't know much about each other. She just knows her as a very shy workaholic, and she just knows her as someone who's very likable in the office. And so you have Hinako right here, who is this a woman in her late 20s who's starting to feel a lot of the pressures that women get as they age, and especially if they're single. So a lot of her friends and family starting to get worried that, you know, she's not settling down, she still doesn't have a boyfriend, like they're just worried about that. And she starts questioning herself a lot. She's starting to feel like she's a burden and that she's the problem and the issue why she hasn't found someone to settle down with. And then you have Asaki here, who's kind of the complete opposite. She, by choice, tends to be very reserved and secludes herself from the other office workers. She often eats alone, doesn't really talk to anyone in the office, and she thinks that Asahi is just a very confident, secure woman. She thinks that she's very likable and maybe she should open herself up a little bit more. So they both want things that the other one possesses, but as they start getting to know one another, she starts discovering that her facade is not, that she's actually a lot more insecure and needs more love. And yeah, they start kind of, you know, they're kind of the missing puzzle piece in that way. So within this story, and I mean, we only have volume 1 right now, they start befriending one another, start learning more about each other. Asahi is very encouraging towards Hinako, just to, you know, not be so hard on herself and work on herself just little by little. But she's very encouraging, very loving, and she starts to open up as well and start letting Hinako into her life. They start, you know, meeting up for lunch. She gets invited to her house to eat dinner with her and her sister. So it's just very sweet. I see this series just becoming very sweet. It might get a little sad. I kind of foresee some drama, but I feel like it's a very realistic story for women, whether you identify as a lesbian or not, but just their thought process and what they're dealing with is just a very, you know, universal thing. So like myself, I am single. I find myself asking, like, am I the problem? Like, am I to blame for not finding a man? And I might be, but I also need to just be like, you know, I don't need to be so harsh on myself. And yeah, it's just, I found it a very relatable story, and both of the characters are very likable. So if you have not checked this out, I would highly recommend it, especially since we are getting a volume 2 within the next few months. Let's move on to something that actually came out this month in June. So we have Boys Run the Riot, which has been getting so much hype on TikTok, and it rightly so. This is incredible. First of all, we have a transgender mangaka writing about a transgender character. So that in itself is amazing. And I know my transgender friends that recommended this story, they really loved it. And the fact that they loved it, it's written by a transgender mangaka, it's the representation that was needed for the transgender community within the manga world. It's done so well. I highly recommend it. If you were kind of questioning like, is it worth the hype? Like, it's all over TikTok. It is. It's a beautiful coming to age story. It's done really well. It is so touching. Yes, it is a little sad, especially once you start dealing with the bullying and just the self-hatred. And you know, I can't speak on the transgender experience because I'm not transgender. I do have friends who are transgender, so I can only you know, empathize with what they experience and try my best to put myself into their shoes. I admire their courage, I admire their strength, and this story just perfectly, I feel like, would perfectly capture what that experience might be like for someone. So the story follows Rio, who is a transgender boy who attends a school, a very conservative school. So he has to wear a girl's uniform at times. Obviously he does not feel comfortable with that, but it's just, you know, the school's rules. And he meets this guy and he transfers into his school. His name is Jin, and Jin is just super chill, super accepting. He stands out like a sore thumb in the classroom. So he's this humongous, he's tall, he's wearing streetwear. He just does not fit in into the school. But this guy just is so chill, so accepting. Even after Rio, you know, comes out as transgender to him, he's just like, okay, so you like wearing dope clothes. You know what? I like you. Let's work together and start a fashion brand. So that's the whole premise of the story. And for Rio, it's so crucial to have someone like Jin in his life. Someone who is just, you know, totally accepting, really does not care. It's like, you can be yourself. And that's all I want. I want you to be happy, you to be your true self. And that's it. It's honestly an amazing story. I don't want to spoil it too much because I feel like everyone should read it. But yeah, it's a beautiful coming to age story about a transgender boy who starts learning to have more confidence in himself, learns to have and accept, you know, new friends into his life. Yeah, I'm so excited to see where this series goes. Volume 2 will be coming out within the next few months. The artwork is amazing. It's just so cool. I mean, the first few pages are colored, which are absolutely awesome. They're so good. There's a lot of graffiti art and street art, street fashion. It's really great. I highly recommend it. And it was something that was, like I said, it was needed within the manga world. There is some transgender representation, but not like this. I haven't seen anything like this before. And there's also an afterword, which I highly recommend. It's an interview with the mangaka, and you just get more insight into his experience, what inspired him to, you know, create this story. It's a long afterword. It's a whole interview. So I would not only recommend reading the manga, but also reading the whole interview in the back. So highly recommend this guy. And last but not least, we have a GL series. This is called Still Sick. I have spoken about this quite a lot. So it follows two women in the workplace. Once again, they work in the same office, different teams, but in the same office. So in this series, you have Makoto, who is a 29-year-old engineer. She writes yuri manga as a hobby. And then you have Akane, who is an ex-mangaka who's now working as general affairs. She obviously, since she was an ex-mangaka, she used to draw and make manga as a career, but she obviously left that behind to become just a regular schmegular office worker. So she meets Makoto at a convention where she's selling her yuri manga, and when they first interact, she's just like, oh my god, someone discovered my secret. No one in the office knows that I write yuri manga. She hasn't come out to anyone, so nobody would assume that she was or she is a lesbian. So she's just freaking out, and she's just excited that that she found someone who likes manga as much as her, but she's just very coy about it. So yeah, they start befriending one another, learning more about each other's interests. So she's trying to be all coy about, you know, the manga world. You have Makoto, who's like, oh my god, and read this yuri title, here's the DVD you should check out. Like, she's just so excited that someone is you know, interested in learning more about yuri manga and anime and all that stuff. And you have Akane, who's just like, you know, I think I kind of like her, like she's cool. And first it starts very friendly, and then there is 3 volumes, so you start seeing more of their both of them develop feelings for one another, but it's not like they get together very quickly. They both have their own issues that they're trying to deal with. You have Akane, who is considering maybe, you know, getting back into manga. Like, does she still have that passion for manga? Should she stay in her safe job or take a risk and, you know, leave it all to go back to creating manga? You have Makoto also dealing with her own issue. Should she come out? Should she start a relationship? And should she start a relationship with a woman? So they're both dealing with their own personal issues. Akane is also dealing with some family issues as well. It deals with several different topics. Once again, I find them very universal topics, but they do eventually get into a relationship, and the relationship is just so sweet. Both of them encourage one another so much. They're loving, they're supportive, and it wraps up really nicely. So I highly recommend it. If you're someone in, you know, your late 20s, early 30s, you're going to relate to these characters a lot. Obviously, I really enjoyed this series. I do annotate my manga. There's a lot of what I would call turning points, just them realizing more about each other, as well as themselves. I also did like some of the artwork as well. There's a lot of cute moments, and then some sweet romantic moments as well. So I highly recommend it. I found it to be such a quick, enjoyable read. So that concludes the video. These are my top picks for Pride Month. There's definitely way more that I've read. If you want more recommendations or just want to hear more about, you know, GL and BL manga, you can follow me on TikTok. My username is Neuzeth. Yeah. You guys know I love reading, and I actually have read some other GL that I highly recommend. I started Our Teachers Are Dating, which so far it's freaking cute. It's so adorable. So yeah, you can hear more about what I'm reading over on my TikTok. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. And if you want to share your own Pride picks, let me know in the comments below. All these titles will be listed in the information box. And yes, I will see you guys very soon in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!